In today's video, we're going to walk you through the process of adding your initial ad copy to a brand new ad when making a new Google Ads campaign. Now, this video is part of our free Google Ads lead gen course that went into every aspect so far that goes into actually setting up a brand new campaign, where most recently we covered how the ad strength scores work inside Google Ads and also the fundamentals of how to write high converting ad copy. And in today's video, we're actually going to go through the process of writing this brand new ad copy using both of the strategies that I mentioned in the last video, where we have ad strength scores that are good and have a lot more flexibility, where we have a lot of different combinations of headlines and descriptions, and also an example of an ad as well, where you give yourself a lot more control and you pin your headlines because you have specific text that you want to appear each time somebody sees your ad. So once you've published your campaign initially and you have your first ad group, what we want to do first of all is go and make our ad, so that way then we have our initial ad copy made, and then we can add this to all of our other ad groups, which we'll go through in one of the next future videos. But once you're in your ad group, we're going to select the blue plus icon and go to responsive search ad. And as we mentioned in the previous videos as well, we're setting this up as if it's a landscaping company. So we have exact match keywords here. So that's the ad we're running. But what we're going to walk you through can be applied to any service-based industry. And now once you've added in your final URL and display path, which is essentially the core theme of that ad group. So if you're offering landscaping, then it makes sense to have something like landscaping in here, because it's basically just the text that appears after your final URL to further reinforce that your ad copy is relevant to what the user searched. And what you might notice as well when you go to make a new ad is that Google might have pre-filled all your headlines and descriptions for you. But what we want to do is go to clear all pre-fills, because we want to write our own ad copy that's a lot more likely to get the click and be a lot more compelling than what Google would make themselves. And first of all, what I like to do when making ad copy is having keyword focus in there first of all. And the easiest way to have keyword focus and make sure that all of your keywords are covered for that ad group is using dynamic keyword insertion, where you firstly type the squiggly brace icon and then press keyword insertion, and then go to title case, because we want the first letter of each word to appear as capital letters, where we can enter in here, for example, landscaping contractor. And what we could also put outside of this as well is, for example, number one, because something I noticed as well that really helps get more attention from your ads is when you have numbers in there. It just draws more attention to the ad. So that way then if somebody searches for landscaping company, they'll see an ad that says number one landscaping company. And this will help as well with our quality scores, because our ad relevance scores will be high by having dynamic keyword insertion in place as well. And we know already from this headline that we have keyword focus here, but we like to have keyword focus for a few of our headlines, especially when we're trying to use up as many of the 15 headlines as possible. So what you could also do, for example, is say landscaping company in, and then type the squiggly brace again, but use the location insertion this time. And what you could type in here as a default text would be your area. But what this does is that Google will detect where the person is based. So if they search for landscaping company and Google detects exactly the town that they're based in, then the ad will say landscaping company in town. And they're obviously a lot more likely to click on an ad where they see that you're based in their exact area. But I'll just have to change this up slightly because there wasn't enough space. So I'm going to get rid of in, and I'll just put in near you here instead. So that way then this headline can either say landscaping company location, or if Google doesn't detect their exact location, it'll still say landscaping company near you by default. So it can fall back on that if their exact location isn't determined. And if we wanted to have another headline with keyword focus here as well, for example, we could have trusted landscaping experts. And as we mentioned as well in our video that covered all the fundamentals of ad copy, the main things we really want to include are keyword focus, along with benefits of why they would choose you, but not the generic benefits that everybody else is using in their ads, and also having clear call to actions as well. So regardless of what you offer as a service-based business, it should be easy enough to come up with good call to actions to add. And what you could have for this is things like, for example, book your free inspection, or get a free quote. Or if you wanted to make it more compelling, you could say no obligation quote, but you might just have to play around with it to make sure you actually have enough space. And another example as well could be, for example, free consultation and quote. So it really depends on what the next step is in the user's journey that should go in as your call to actions. But in general, when you're writing an ad that you're actually trying to use up as many of these headline options as possible, I'd usually recommend having at least a few call to actions in there. And just to give some examples then of clear benefits of why they should choose you, you could have things like, for example, 100% satisfaction guarantee or 10 to 20-year warranties. And to help you with this as well, what you could do is look at your competitors' ads using Google's Transparency Center and seeing what benefits they include in their ads. And then you can use that to make sure you come up with more compelling benefits than theirs. And that way, then you're more likely to get the click on your ad than your competitors. If you see that everybody else is saying 20 plus years experienced and licensed and insured, then you want to see what you can do to actually stand out from them and use benefits that nobody else is using so that the chances of you standing out are a lot higher. And what you can also do as well to give you more ideas for headlines and descriptions that you can use for your campaigns is being as detailed as you can with ChatGPT and giving it a prompt that asks everything you need to write the most effective headlines and descriptions possible. And if anyone's interested in just using this exact prompt as well, feel free to let me know in the comment section and I can leave that down below. But if you are looking for ideas for headlines and descriptions using ChatGPT, just make sure it's as detailed as possible and let it know exactly what you're really looking to achieve with your headlines and descriptions, because the more detailed you are with your prompt, the better the response is likely to be. But this prompt essentially asks ChatGPT to come up with headlines and descriptions that we can use for a landscaping company for a Google Ads campaign. So we're just going to see what ideas it gives us back. And from that prompt, then we got headline ideas with keyword focus, social proof, unique selling points, calls to action, puns as well, which can also work quite well, and emotion based headlines, along with more options to choose from. And with descriptions as well, we also got ideas there. And what I like to do as well, if, for example, we're trying to use 4 descriptions and we don't like the idea of all of those, we can just keep asking it to give us more ideas. And if there's anything about these descriptions you don't like, you can just keep refining your prompts further to keep improving the responses that you get back. But just to take some more ideas of headlines that I'd consider using for a campaign like this, if we wanted another with keyword focus, we could have affordable landscaping services and just change that to service. The headlines with social proof work quite well as well, so you could say 500 plus happy clients served. Or else, if you're targeting only homeowners, you could even change this to homeowners just to be even more specific to who you're trying to serve. These generic USPs as well. Out of all of these, I just see fully licensed and insured and 10 years experience quite often, but on time and on budget is a bit better, so we'll add that as well. And we could add get your free quote now as another call to action as well. As if you have 15 headlines to work with, there's no harm in using even 4 of those as call to actions. And we'll also add in this pun based headline here just to test how that works. And now we just have 2 more headlines that we can add. And we have 2 more headlines that we can add. And looking at these, maybe make your neighbors jealous might as well stop them in their tracks and, make them stop scrolling on Google and, look at this ad because it's not something that competitors would typically say. And looking at the other headline options as well, maybe adding in green spaces, happy faces might work well too. So that's our 15 headlines added in. And now just looking at these descriptions, I do think they could be better if we just simply asked ChatGPT to focus more on having keyword focus, clear benefits of why to choose them, and clear calls to action. And so now again, we've gotten a bunch more other description options that we have to work with. And it is a case of just refining your prompts if the responses that you're getting aren't exactly what you're looking for. So what I'm going to do now is go through these 20 description options and pick what I believe to be the best 4 and add that to our ad, so that way then we have one ad made with all 15 headlines and 4 descriptions being used. So now we have 4 unique descriptions in place where Google will typically show 2 of these at any given time, but we have all 4 in place and we have all 15 headlines being used as well. So this is why as well we have an ad strength score of excellent, is that we're giving Google as much opportunity as possible to have as many combinations of headlines and descriptions that can be shown at any one time. So now that we have that initial ad made, what we're going to do is save the ad. And now what we're also going to do now that we've added the first ad is add another ad in a different format that tends to work especially well when you believe that specific headlines shown in a specific order will outperform the rest of the headlines that you're giving Google the option to use, where you might want to have a specific keyword focus headline pinned as position 1 every time, followed by your offer that's always going to be pinned in position 2, and then you have two specific descriptions with your most unique benefits that you think is stronger than any other descriptions that you could possibly use. And we've seen ads of this format in campaigns that we're running have click-through rates of 20% and even higher in some cases, with high conversion rates as well. And just to walk you through why that is and why it might be worth testing alongside the type of ad we just made, is that if we go to responsive search ad again, and again we go to make a brand new ad and clear all our pre-fills as we did last time, you might want to have direct control over exactly what your ad looks like. And for example here, if we have local landscaping experts as position 1 as your first headline, but instead what we're going to do is pin this headline so that way it can only be shown in position 1. So the first thing anybody will see in your ad is always local landscaping experts no matter what. And let's say you have an offer, for example, free quote within minutes, that you found to work really well before for you in the past, and you want to have that pinned as position 2, then you know that anytime anybody sees your ad, that every time it's seen, that these are the first two headlines that they'll always see. And you have to have a third headline in there as well, but it's only going to be some cases that this third headline will be shown, because a lot of the time it is only two headlines that are shown at any given time. But when I'm making ads of this format, what I typically like to do is have some kind of social proof in here, so that way then you have keyword focus, so making it clear that you offer exactly what they're looking for first of all, and then answering, what's in it for them, so you have almost like a benefit and a call to action in the second headline, and then having social proof, so why they should trust you as well underneath this. So we could have, for example, 50 plus 5-star Google reviews, and we could have that one then pinned in position 3 then, so that way then we have really tight control over how our ad actually appears. And now just to show you a real ad that follows this exact format, that has a click-through rate of around 14% and a conversion rate of just above that of nearly 15%, and a very low cost per conversion as well, is an artificial grass installation ad group in a real landscaping campaign that we're actually running. And what we're going to do is look at the descriptions that are being used in this ad, and we could use these then as well for the descriptions of this ad, where we're going to only use two descriptions, because again, this is the ad we're writing that we want to have really tight control over exactly how our ad appears. So we can change this one, call us for any landscaping related needs, fully qualified immediate assistance. And now we just added the other description in as well, and we can change this from the most reliable artificial grass installers to landscaping company. So now we have three pinned headlines in place and two descriptions, where the first two headlines are always going to appear in this way. So this is very different to the first ad we made, where we have 15 headlines and 4 descriptions, where if you try to calculate how many different combinations of headlines and descriptions that Google can actually run, it is a massive number. Whereas this approach is the complete opposite, where you have direct control over exactly how your ad appears and aren't really giving Google any control as to how it appears, which is why the ad strength score is poor in this case. And with this, there isn't any right or wrong. We've seen ad strength scores of poor perform better than excellent, and some cases excellent perform better than poor as well. So it's something that just might be worth testing if you're running multiple ads in each ad group, which is what we're going to get onto in the next video as well. So once we have this second ad made as well, we can press save ad. And so now we have two completely different types of ads made that can both run inside the same ad group inside a new Google Ads campaign. So I hope this video helped and gave you some clarity on how to go about actually writing the headlines and descriptions that you're going to use for any brand new Google Ads campaign. Now, if you do have any questions about anything we mentioned inside this video, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based business looking to have all of this done and implemented for you, feel free to have a look at the link in the description. And if you do like this Google Ads related content as well, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as so far in this Google Ads playlist, we've shared every step up until this point of how to make a new Google Ads campaign, and all of the videos that we'll continue to post each day will cover the rest of the steps involved in making a brand new Google Ads campaign from start to finish and managing that campaign once it goes live. So I hope the video helped and that we'll see you inside the next one.